Welcome to my messy studio, everyone. My name is Mark, and I'm an artist and an art professor. And in this video, we're going to talk about this unorthodox and exciting drawing tool, a Pilot parallel pen with something called a ruling pen modification. Some time ago, I made a video that shows you how to make it, and while I think I did a pretty decent job explaining things, I failed to explain how to actually draw with it. This video will address that major inexcusable omission and show you how to get the most of this strange, yet surprisingly versatile, mark-making instrument. Let's get started. But before I do, I would like to tell you about my YouTube membership program. Members receive access to 2 long-form classes a month and other exclusive content, and also get priority when it comes to having their questions answered. Your membership will help support this channel and will allow me to create longer, more detailed content that is not under as much pressure from the YouTube algorithm to perform well with a mass audience. Okay, back to the scheduled program. Pilot parallels, if you're not familiar with them, have an unusual nib design. Instead of a pointy piece of metal with 2 split tines that carry ink to the paper, this nib type is composed of 2 parallel plates with the ink flowing between them. The plates are square, creating an italic point that's great for producing sharp lettering like Gothic script. Drawing with it creates some interesting, awkward, and scratchy lines. So you go very thin if you hold the nib on its side, and then if you hold it flatter, you can produce a little bit of line variation, though it's hard to control. I have seen people draw with it successfully, but the modification makes it much better suited for drawing. Here is the modification up close. As you can see, one of the corners has been ground down into a curve. I used a small Dremel grinder, but a number of commenters have told me that they were able to do it with sandpaper alone. The video where I show you how to do this explains everything, so I'm not going to go into detail here, but this really is a cinch. Once you make the initial cut, all you need to do is polish it with 1000 grit sandpaper and you're good to go. And while the video demonstrated this modification on a number of different nib sizes, there's no need to have a nib of every size, and I recommend, if you plan to make only one, to go with a 6mm nib, the largest size. The Pilot Parallel is by no means an uncomfortable pen to use, with a long grip section and good balance. Its only disadvantage being that it's longer than most pens and doesn't fit into many pen cases. Also, because it's a cartridge converter, the ink capacity is limited, which is a problem since this pen mod absolutely chugs ink. However, the parallel nib easily pulls out and can be fitted into a number of other pen bodies. In my original video, I show that it can go into any one of the large Opus 88 Demonstrator pens. This is the Jazz model. But since then, I've discovered a number of other pen bodies it can be used with. Here are 3 of them. This is the Moonman Wancai, a tiny yet very comfortable pocket pen with very large ink capacity, great for portable sketching kits. Then there's a great jumbo option, the Jinxao X159. And then this recent discovery, the fantastic Asvine V126. So I've taken out the housing here, and let's replace it with the Pilot parallel nib. In it goes. This is a vacuum filler with great ink capacity and a very good pen in its own right, worth getting even if you don't plan to switch out the nib. This modification was originally done by calligraphers specializing in Arabic scripts and mimic traditional calligraphy tools. The line quality produced by such pens is truly unique, not just because of the huge line variation, going from super thin to ultra thick, but also because this pen allows you to control line smoothness, depending on how the nib makes contact with the paper and the speed and pressure of the stroke. This is a tool that's capable of creating a huge vocabulary of different stroke types, and really belongs in its own category, being neither nib nor brush. Unfortunately, because it's so different from other drawing tools, learning how to use it takes a bit of time and practice. So I'm going to show you how to use it and demonstrate a few techniques it can be used with. Now let's talk about how to use this pen. In many ways, it's similar to a fude in that the line width can be controlled with the angle of the pen. So if I want a very thin line, I hold the pen at a vertical, like this. And it's going to give me a fairly thin line. And if I want to go wider, I'm going to tilt the pen down a little bit, and it's going to give me a slightly thicker line. And then the flatter the angle, the wider the line. This is a good way to go, but I find that you get better control by doing something a little bit different. Instead of changing the angle of the pen, I'm going to change the rotation. So what I'm actually going to do is start with the tip down. That's going to produce a very fine line. You can see this line is actually finer than this one because I'm drawing with only the tip. And then if I want to widen the line, I don't change the angle of the pen, all I do is change the rotation. So I'm rotating the nib a little bit so that it's hitting the paper at a little bit more of an angle. And you can see the line width widens a little bit. Rotate a little more, you get a wider line. Rotate a little bit more. So the more I rotate, the more contact the nib has with the paper and creates a wider line. Now, it'll never quite go as wide as if you use it with the angle shift, but at this point, if I want to go wider, then I can change the angle to go wider. So I find that holding the pen this way gives me much more control, allows me to crosshatch, and you can see the huge line variation I have here. So once again, I start with a tip, and then I don't change my grip, I don't change the angle, all I do is rotate the pen slightly, and it gives me wider and wider lines. Now, this is basically the same thing that can be accomplished with a Fude, but this pen has a number of advantages and can create textures that the Fude doesn't have access to. So for example, this pen is also sensitive to speed. So if I put down a line slowly, it creates lines that have relatively smooth edges. If I speed up, you can see the edge changes, the line quality becomes very rough. The faster I go, the more these lines look rough, explosive. They start creating these kind of distressed edges even. And then we can do other things. So I can create these kind of explosive textures. So I press down and then I move out. I press down, move out, right? Which create these really strong, thick to thin textures. These might be good for really rough, dramatic value transitions. And I can use a thinner line here too, by the way. Right, so I press down a little bit and then I explode out of it. Right, so we can create textures like this. We can also create all different kinds of stippled textures. So we can rotate the pen and create all different kinds of strokes like this. Or leaf textures. The line variation here can also create all different kinds of branches. So I can go thick and then gradually thin out, creating branches with a few leaves on them if I want. You can also create dry brush effects. So if I just barely make contact with the paper, you can see that it creates these kind of scrapey textures. And just barely making contact with the paper. Like so. The versatility of this instrument means that it can be used a bunch of different ways. The most conventional is to use it to create expressive line work. In this little sketch, I'm using a mix of two waterproof inks, Diatramentus Document Red and Diatramentus Document Cyan. The Diatramentus Document series of inks come in many colors, are fully waterproof and archival, and best of all are designed to be mixed with each other, allowing you to customize the color. A video on how these inks can be used is coming soon. In some ways, the flat tip of this ruling pen modification creates marks reminiscent of a flat-tipped reed pen, such as the ones used by Van Gogh. But the addition of the curve produces a much larger vocabulary of strokes that the reed pen doesn't have access to. Here's the finished drawing, complete with a watercolor wash layer. By the way, I'm going to make the long-form recording of this drawing available as bonus content for members of my channel. Another way to use the ruling pen is to fill it with a lighter, more transparent ink, which allows you to use it more like a brush. In this example, I filled the pen with Noodler's Lexington Gray ink diluted by half with water. This ink is waterproof, which lets you layer the values, so though I'm working with a single, relatively light dilution, I can still get strong contrast. Depending on how you hold the pen and how you move it, you can create a lot of different effects. Everything from flat, wet washes to rough, scrapey dry brush strokes to very fine, razor-sharp lines. While a drawing like this can be done with a brush, really the effect is entirely its own, not looking like it was done by either brush or pen. Since I discovered this modification some years ago, I've gone through periods of using it, and every time I do, I go on a tear, not being able to put it down for months. I guess I'm going through such a period right now, which is why I've decided to share it with you. Here's the final landscape drawing. If you'd like to see a long-form demo of me doing this drawing, I have it available for everyone on my channel. The ruling pen can, of course, be used for a variety of subject matter, including head drawing. Here I'm using the same mix of red and cyan diatramentus document inks, which produce a dark gray. This is a lovely, though more expensive, alternative to Noodler's Gray, with even stronger waterproof qualities and a more pleasant purplish undertone. I've chosen a strong calligraphic style of hatch here with lots of bold line variation, and I have to admit that controlling the pen with such a dark ink is not so easy, and I have to make sure that every stroke counts. That said, mistakes are bound to happen in such a loose application and actually contribute to the fury of the final effect. Here is the finished drawing, which was very fun to do. A full recording of this demo is available for members as bonus content. And just to show that softer effects can also be achieved, here's yet another portrait, this one done with diamine gray ink. This ink is much lighter and is a better choice for a softer, more traditional look. Unlike the Noodler's Lexington Gray, this ink is water-soluble, so you have to be careful not to put down too many layers, since the layers underneath will have a tendency to lift. Even so, this ink makes the pen considerably easier to work with and to produce a tighter, more finished result. But given the ruling pen's unruly nature, this still produces drawings that are expressive and a little wild. A recording of this demo will be available to members as bonus content. I hope you found this demonstration of the working properties of this really fun, easy to make drawing instrument useful. And if you did, please subscribe and consider becoming a member of my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and see you back in my messy studio very soon. Bye for now.